You have to make sure that your dreams, your aspirations and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option. It's just not an option. Through all the things I've gone through in my life, I had a lot of downs. How did I keep the faith? There was a couple of reasons. I know from living that if you quit, whatever you're trying to accomplish can never happen. You have to want something so big that it wakes you up in the middle of the night. You have to want something so big that you think about it all the time. You have to want something so big that it drives you to wake up when you don't want to. It keeps you up at night when you long been sleepy. It makes you show up, do things you wouldn't normally do. It requires extra. If you want to be extraordinary and not ordinary, if you want to be ordinary, live your life. But if you want to be extraordinary, you have to be extra. If you put extra on top of ordinary, that word is extraordinary. It requires an extra effort.
Don't manage time, manage focus. So what happens is when you try to manage time, the clock is always against you. You're trying to finish off something and time goes by so quickly. When you're in that moment, when you're so focused, you don't know if you've been at it for 30 minutes or you've been at it for an hour. You just go. Time creates distractions. Literally, time, if you're like managing time, you get all these distractions that are going there. What does focus do? It blocks them out. So don't worry about managing time. Manage your focus. Be in that moment when you're in that moment, and then you'll get so much more done during that time. You know, time tells you to stop. Focus tells you keep going. When you focus, what do? You just keep going. You just keep going.
You have to understand why you're going through the period that's causing you to make you want to give up. See, the devil has one mission only, is to rob you of your destiny. That's the devil's only job. If he can get you to give up, you have been robbed of your destiny. If he can get you to become a criminal, he robs you of your destiny. If he gets you to never follow your dream, chase your dream, he robs you of your destiny. If he causes you to think that this is all my life is, he has caused you to rob you of your destiny.
The biggest problem people have is they think they're not supposed to have any. And problems are the fuel for growth, right? And so if like, if you don't have any problems, you're either a liar or you might call them challenges. It feels better. I understand that. But, you know, anybody who doesn't have problems is either totally asleep at the wheel or they don't have much of any kind of a life. You know, no responsibility, nothing they're building. So I think the first thing is this misnomer that if I have a problem, there's something wrong with me or my life. And I think the second one is this delusion we've sold people on that getting what you want is going to make you happy. See, the biggest challenge people have, and the reason they're not able to respond to challenges, they're just thinking about themselves, and it's not that hard to meet your own needs. And it's nobody's fault. I mean, these little things in our pocket, these little mini computers we used to call phones, I mean, they're constantly conditioning you to instantly get what you want. And that's not how human relationship works. And that's sure as hell not how you build a business, right? It's not a straight line. And so I think the problem is that people don't have something that they're wanting to serve more than themselves. And then I think the next problem is that people think they have to know how. I call it the tyranny of how. You get all excited, I'm gonna do this. And then your brain goes, I've never done it before. Oh my God, what did I say? I don't know how to do this. Martin Luther King had no idea how when he did his I Have a Dream speech. In fact, his wife was the one that pushed him because he was uncertain, right? You know the real history, it's pretty interesting. But the bottom line is he gets up there and he gives his vision of how it can be done. He talked about what needs to happen and why. If you can figure out what you want and why you want it, and you get strong enough reasons that'll drive you late at night, it'll get you up early in the morning, and the reasons are different, right? So you gotta find your reasons. But if you know what you want and you get a big enough why, now you'll figure out how to do it. But if you start with how, you know, the small brain, the fear brain, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do 90% of the time either. I know what and why, and then I try something. It doesn't work, I try something else. No, here's something else. Now I speed it up by learning from the best. So my life is really about learn from the best, but I don't start with the how. I start with the what and the why. And I think that's the mistake most people make.
You paid attention to every freaking detail. When people say don't sweat the small stuff, sweat everything. Every little detail matters.
I think it's smart to focus on one thing primarily. Focus on too many can be overwhelming. Other people, it's good to focus on multiple things. It depends on your personality. So I wouldn't presuppose. But then the answer would be whichever thing you're most desirous of changing, whatever thing is giving you the most pain. If you change the body, you'll change the emotions. If you change the emotions, you'll change your decisions, you'll change the quality of your life. Because the quality of your life is your emotions. Our pattern of emotion is our home. And you have to upgrade your home. You have to train it. And one way to train it is the emotion comes from the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you speak.
What happens is through your childhood, and maybe on even later in life, something happens to you. There's some kind of decision you have to make. There's some kind of obstacle that came in your way, something that you had to deal with. And how you dealt with that situation pretty much determines how everything else is going to go. Did somebody handle that for you, or did you own up to it and say, I'm going to take care of this? I know those individuals, if you look at all their stories, every individual that's been successful, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, if you look at everything that they've done, some kind of something happened in their life, early on in their life, that put that in this relentless mindset to just be an overachiever, set unrealistic goals because they saw something and they did not want to go back in that direction. So when something happens, you have two options. You can either curl up and just say, make excuses after excuses, or you can own up to it and turn around and figure out how to do it.